one game away. Blow up. We're playing for something, man. We're playing for something. Just gotta mean something, you. They gotta mean something. Everything you got. Everything you got. Let's finish this.
Do it, fellas.
Let's go.
Let's do it, fellas.
Finish 2 3. 1 2 3.
You ready to make history? Come on now. Yeah. You know there's these two words. And when I say them, people get goosebumps cause they know what happens next. So without further ado,
Free smoke.
look. Scared cause I'm drowning in silence with bad thoughts. These days I don't have nothing to say, man, the bag talks. I put in headphones on my driver. Pull up to the spot and give a good dick and Godiva. I can't lie, I'm uninspired. No more pillow talking about nonsense. I only stick around to put some band-aids on my conscience. I don't know why I feel so bad, nigga. That's what we do, no foundation. We don't build no more, we just screw. Half a bottle of Henny, girl, I'm going with the wind. The same niggas say they happy for me, ain't want me to win. So I'm done on my friends. Don't need help popping Coronas and reminiscing. I just call up Big Bro J and say it's time for venting. If I live forever, I hold this hate for some centuries. You don't know how much I have you doing what it meant to me, but motherfuck all that. I don't even offer up the time to make the call back. Stupid Lodo, if they don't get the picture now, man, I crop them out of the photo. I can't relate to my peers. Been doing this shit for years. I'm motivated by fears. I took the wheel and I steer. My sound not dictated by fuck boys in Atlanta. Stay gifted like this album was ghost written by Santa Bars forever, like they decided to throw me under Slammer. Every song's a hit like they picture me underhanders. I could drop 1,000,000 songs, but they never gon' understand us. Soapbox sermons for niggas never giving chances. Fight our whole lives to get these weak ass advances. Work twice as hard for the shit that they getting handed. And this ain't even nothing we chose, nigga, we branded. Still can't tell why all of these niggas mad at me. I'm trying to get 100 so I can put my team on salary. Give it all to the art, man, I turn my life to a gallery. Man, damn, what a fucked up masterpiece. 1,100 shots and I swear, man, I felt them all. If we ain't even good on our blocks, man, who can we call? Pre-decline state of mind, we broke crabs in the barrel. Got us fighting our folk, man, this shit just a life of peril.
Winning has a price. And leadership has a price.
I'm coming. I promise you, on my life, I'm coming. From the first snap, man. From the first second. What are we gonna do, man? All back against the wall. All back is against the wall.
Welcome back to another episode of Kicking It with Saint. So glad that you joined me. You could have been anywhere else in the world. You chose to be here tonight. The setup that I am in tonight is a fan literally inches away from me. Because listen, the spot in which I'm recording is just too hot. It's too hot. And I'm gonna be completely honest with you. Transparent. The fan that's sitting in front of me, it could get cleaned a little bit. I'm not gonna stunt with you. It could use a good wiping down. But I got a fan sitting in front of me. You might hear a noise out the back. I might actually, give me a second. Cause I got the highlights on in the background, and I don't want the highlights to I don't want that sound to interfere with the sound. Matter of fact, turned it down enough to the point where there's no way you can hear the back, cause that'd be very irritating listening to the background of these highlights playing, and also trying to listen and focus in on what I'm saying. That could be very annoying. And you got this fan noise. So I can see how this could be very irritating for some. But if you decide to continue to rock out with me, I appreciate you, because I'm not turning this fan off. It's hot as fuck in this room. But I ain't gonna lie to you. Transparency once again. It's a nice little setup. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm comfortable. If I turn the fan off, I will not be. So I'm not turning the fan off. But how's everybody doing out there? I hope your team won. Imagine rooting for a team right now that lost today or don't have at least 2 wins on the season. You see how I shaped that narrative to fit the Ravens? Listen, a lot of games happen today, a lot of good games. We got 2 games that happen tomorrow. Tennessee at Miami. And the good game, Detroit, Seattle. Seattle is in Detroit tomorrow night on Monday Night Football. So that's the good game that's going to happen tomorrow. But nonetheless, 2 games do happen tomorrow. I'm actually tired of them doing this 2 games on Monday Night Football. I'm not understanding why they do double headers on Monday Night Football, especially back one game happened while the other one on. Why not have one game start early so that people can watch both games? Last week, you really lucked up, and I don't really even know if you lucked up because the Bills was beating the Jags' ass, so most people were watching the Bengals game, that competitive game between the Bengals and the Commanders. I don't understand how that works out for the NFL viewership-wise, but they make so much money, I guess it does not matter. Nonetheless, happy that you joined me on another episode of the Recap on Saints World. I kept saying welcome back to Kicking It with Saint, even though it's the recap. It's actually welcome back to the recap because this is not an episode of Kicking It with Saint. This is just the recap. The recap is not Kicking It with Saint. Kicking It with Saint is not the recap. The thing that they both share is they are both on Saints World. I gotta focus in and get that right when I'm doing an introduction. Nonetheless, a lot of games happened today. And I actually wanted to start the show with the new segment called Concerned. But I'm trying to let me deliberate on if I want to run through these scores real quick. Or if the score graphics, yo. Shout out to the person who helped me on the score graphics. You know who you are. The fact that we got every single team's score graphics or every game that was played. You know how before I would just make one graphic with all the scores on it? We got individual score graphics now for each game that happened. That's pretty lit. Nonetheless, as a matter of fact, since I'm talking about the scores, we might as well run through the scores real quick. But then we're going to hit on our new segment called Concerned. We'll explain it, talk about it in a quick second, but let's run through these scores. Week 4 in... What are we talking about right now? What are we doing? Week 4 in the NFL. Of course, it started off on Thursday Night Football with Dallas in New York taking on the New York Giants. Dallas won that game 20-15. And actually, you know what? I'm not about to read the scores, actually, because I actually want to talk about I want to start off with the new segment called Concern. And what this segment basically is, I don't know if it's going to be 1 or 2. This week is 2. Basically, it's 2 this week because this segment would have started last week if I could have recorded. And last week, the team, it's only 2 this week because the team that was going to be on it last week, I don't want to not talk about them. So it's going to be 2, but it's a team from the day that I want to talk about too, or it's a concern that I have today that I want to talk about. But this segment is basically me pointing out, because at first I thought I was going to name the segment Caught My Attention. However, caught my attention is not always something negative. Concerned is more so I have a concern about what I'm seeing. I'm seeing something that's concerning me. If it don't get fixed or if something don't change, this could get bad quick. That's basically what this new segment is. And so on concern, there's 2 things that I'm concerned about right now in the NFL. And concern really is a segment where I can really focus in on other teams. Because I'm a Ravens fan, I talk about my concerns and things with the Ravens all the time. The Ravens will never be in this segment. The Ravens will more than likely never touch most of these segments because most of these segments are for me to talk about other teams. I talk about the Ravens every show. I have a show right now that I'm working on that's going to be specifically for Baltimore Raven talk. However, because we talk Ravens on this channel so much, the Ravens will more than likely, because I'm not going to say never, but at this very moment, like I'm concerned about the Brandon Stevens on the Ravens, but I talk about that all the time. Concerned is more so a segment where I'm going to be able to talk about other teams that I think have concerns right now. And the first two, not necessarily teams, but one is a team, the other is a person. The first one I want to talk about is Dak Prescott and the Cowboys. See, I'm concerned. Now, and I said in the beginning of the season, after I looked at the schedule, I said that the Cowboys could have a rough season because this is not an easy schedule. And my biggest problem with the Cowboys schedule, the biggest reason I looked at the schedule and said that this could be a tough one for the Cowboys was the same reason that well, let's just get into it as a matter of fact. When you look at the Cowboys schedule, they play teams on that schedule that not only are good, that have good quarterbacks or run great offenses. That's a problem for the Cowboys. And I'm concerned now after seeing what they did against the Giants. Because originally I thought it was just you lose to Lamar, Burrow, Allen, Mahomes type led teams. More so than not, you'll lose to the Detroits, the San Francisco type teams. But you nearly lost to the Giants. You should have lost to the Giants. Daniel Jones, if he hit 2 throws in this game, they'll probably win this game. The benefit for the Cowboys in this game is just the lack of talent and the fact that Daniel Jones is the quarterback for the opposing team. New Orleans Saints looked unbelievable against Dallas. The New Orleans Saints have not looked anywhere near that good since then. The Baltimore Ravens, I understand, can run on anybody. But they just went into Dallas and did that. Dallas, I'm concerned. The fact that you cannot stop great teams, you can't stop decent teams, and now you really can't stop the bad teams. Your schedule already was tough because you play a lot of good into great teams on it. And Dak has not shown. I tweeted something the other day, and a Cowboy fan tweeted me defending Dak. And I said, at this point, it's a factual statement. Like, because I'm tired of arguing or having these conversations with Cowboy fans. It is a factual statement. You can provide proof that Dak Prescott does not play. He does not beat the great quarterbacks or the great led teams. He just doesn't. His resume says he doesn't beat those teams. He done had running backs, receivers, a defense, a coach. Like, at some point in time, Dak got to get it done. But now, after watching that Thursday night game, he don't look good against the Saints, a team that we don't look at as a Super Bowl contender. The Saints could possibly be a good team this year, but you don't look at them as a Chiefs, a Ravens, a Bengals, Bills, great teams. You don't look at them like, and maybe I shouldn't even be saying the Bengals, but you don't look at them as true Super Bowl contenders. Dallas got their ass beat by that type team. And then you lose to the contender. And then you nearly lose to the team that'll be probably drafting in the lottery. It's not even a lottery in the NFL. A team that'll probably be drafting top 5 in the draft this year. Right now, Washington is leading this division. Rightfully so. Washington looked like the best team in this division. A lot of that have to do with the fact that they look like they got the best quarterback in this division. And see, this is the thing. The reason I said it was 2 teams, well, it wasn't really 2 teams, more so a person and a team. But then because it really is 2 teams. Because it's not just Dallas that I'm concerned about. It's the Philadelphia Eagles also. You see, Philly has, so technically it's 3. It's a person and 2 teams. But I'll get to the person last. But these 2 teams, Dallas and Philly. The 2 teams that ran this division for so long. I'm concerned. Because how long will Jalen Hurts be without A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith? Because it is very clear he is a different quarterback without those 2 players at his disposal. Not only that, I done said it before. I love Jalen Hurts. But one of my biggest problems when people compare him to Lamar Jackson or try to say he better than Lamar because he got to a Super Bowl, Lamar has never had the type of talent that Jalen Hurts has had at his disposal. Jalen Hurts played a great Super Bowl, but that's an outlier type of game compared to what he normally does when he is in the pocket, having to operate from the pocket. When Jalen Hurts does not have talent, the type of talent that he has around him on a normal basis the past, 2-3 years, I don't trust Jalen Hurts really to be great from the pocket. I trust Jalen Hurts to be able to win games, but not to win certain games. And right now, when you look at Philly, and this is a big reason that why I keep saying that I like Green Bay more than Dallas and Philly, because Jordan Love is better than Dak and Jalen Hurts. Not only is he better than both of them, in my opinion, Jordan Love's ceiling compared to the other two is night and day. Now you look at Jaden Daniels, the quarterback for Washington. He might not be better than Jalen Hurts or Dak right now. I'm not going to disrespect those two dudes by saying that. But he got a higher ceiling than both of them. He playing better than both of them right now. He got weapons at his disposal. And Washington is in first in that division. Not only is Washington in first, it's a good chance they could stay in first. Not because Washington is some powerhouse type team, because Washington will start playing teams that test them. They do have a rookie at the helm. But this is not a cakewalk schedule for Dallas or for the Philadelphia Eagles. And not only is it not a cakewalk schedule, Philly ain't healthy. Dallas defense is toast. The offense is good in the fourth quarter when the game is damn near over, and not in the beginning of the game, when you need them to be great, to stay in games and compete with other teams. This notion that Dak is not the reason you lose after he throw for a lot of yards when the game is over, but didn't do shit for you when the game was in the balance, is baffling to me. But I'm concerned about the Philadelphia Eagles, and now I'm looking at Nick Sirianni and I'm saying, I don't like blaming head coaches, but I am now starting to wonder, has the Sirianni-Jalen Hurts relationship run its course? The one thing that happened when you have the type of talent around you that Jalen Hurts, Joe Burrow have around them, even at one point in Tom Herbert, when you Tua, when you have that type of talent around you, you can get comfortable doing the same thing over and over if it works, so you never really expand your game, improve on other skills and things of that nature. And so while Jalen Hurts done pretty much been a good quarterback over the last couple of years, he ain't really a great quarterback. It's a lot of things that he can't do that's not a part of his game. And the reason that he don't really go out there and try to do those things on a week-to-week basis, or really on a year-to-year basis at this point, it's because he got the talent around him to make it so that he don't have to do those type of things. Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen had to go out there and get better on a year-to-year basis because they didn't have the talent surrounding them to just be able to fall back on that talent. Neither did Pat Mahomes at a certain point in time. So I'm concerned because neither Dak nor Jalen Hurts is Lamar, Burrow, Allen, Mahomes. Hell, I'm not going to say that. That would have been disrespectful. But when I look at the fact that Sam Darnold, who I know what Sam Darnold is, but the fact that Sam Darnold looked just as good as, if not better in a lot of people's eyes than these other two quarterbacks who are on teams that we expected to be leading or competing for Super Bowls this year and leading the divisions, it's concerning. And I don't even know who, the reason both of them made it, I don't really know who to be concerned about more. I really don't. Dak. I saw some of the stats the other day about Dak. About Dallas's defense, because it's not just Dak, it's the defense too. When you look at that defense and some of the shit that they done allowed over the last couple weeks, the fact that the offense is basically non-existent the first three quarters against great teams, Dallas is looking rough right now. And then you look at Philly. I don't know if they can survive these injuries. God bless a team that let Baker Mayfield go in their building or just lose to Baker Mayfield in such disrespectful fashion 2 times in a row. Like, it's embarrassing. Couldn't be the Ravens, bro. Couldn't be Lamar. He done lost to Baker once in his career, and Baker lucked up with that one. But I'm concerned about Philly and the Cowboys. It is a very real possibility neither of these 2 teams make the playoffs. Like, that is a real... I don't think people... Like, I know people saying, oh, you know, saying it's the beginning of the season. I understand that. I understand that. We in week 4. However, if you look at how both of these teams done played, you look at the schedule that they have coming up, it is a very real possibility that if they don't get their shit together soon, with a pace, like with a quickness, both of these 2 teams can miss the playoffs. Like, and I always done said this. You don't want to be one of those teams that the only way you can make the playoffs is hoping that another team play bad, because that usually never works out most of the time. So I said it usually never works out most of the time. Anyways, that doesn't work out most of the time. So you don't want to hang your hat on hoping something like that happens. So they're going to have to get it together quick. But I don't see... To me, Dallas could probably get it together quicker than Philly. But if Philly can get their players back, then I imagine Philly can get it together. But I do think this is kind of alarming. I mean, Jalen Hurts for damn near the entirety of this game didn't even have 100 passing yards. Now, I don't know... Jalen Hurts without this talent right now is looking a lot like how Justin Fields looked in Chicago. And that's crazy to say, but I just got to call a spade a spade. Once again, I don't look at the film and the tape and say, I want it to be this. I see it. It is what it is. And I say what I see. I love Jalen Hurts. I want to defend Alabama quarterbacks to the death. But the film is not looking good right now for Jalen Hurts. I gotta keep it a buck. And then with Dallas, once again, the defense, the Commanders could really win this division. Now, I'm not gonna put money down on the Commanders winning this division because Jaden Daniels is still a rookie. But man, oh man, I'm concerned. And then the biggest thing that's concerning to me is a player, because it's one thing to be concerned about 2 teams, not necessarily their health, but just how they playing and whatnot. But now when I look at Anthony Richardson, the quarterback for the Indianapolis Colts, I'm concerned. Injuries. I couldn't tell you exactly why he left the game. I know he was hurt today, and that's why he left the game in the first. And Joe Flacco came in and finished off the game, and won that, and helped the led the Colts to a victory in that game. Led the Colts to a victory in that win. Good Lord! But Anthony Richardson, man, I don't. You know, this addiction that people have of thinking that he is Cam Newton. Maybe even he think he Cam Newton. Your body is telling you that you are not. I don't really know how long Anthony Richardson could play this game if he continue to play the way he play. And not only is it a problem with the way he played, because his body keep telling you that he can't take this type of damage, but also in his play style. In his play style right now, it feel like every time watching AR so far this season, it really feel like it's an all or nothing type of offense. Either we gonna hit the big play that basically scores or put us in position to score, or we gonna do a lot of nothing. Turnovers, picks, fumbles, turnover on downs, 3 and outs, punts. To me, the Colts are just not. I hate what I'm about to say, man. Because, I want to defend African-American quarterbacks, but I'm no liar. And I don't like what I'm seeing from Anthony Richardson right now. Fundamentally, he's not sound right now. he might have a good arm as far as the arm strength, but he's not really that accurate. I don't think he see the field great. I don't think he sees the field great. I don't think he can read defenses great. It's not too much great with Anthony Richardson aside from, I guess, his athleticism, his size, and but I mean, I don't even know if his size would be a positive because he keep getting hurt. So, I am concerned. He can't keep playing like this. And you want to know what's interesting? I don't even think that it's the Colts, to be honest with you, because I watched the Colts play. I don't think that it's Shane Steichen the head coach. I don't think that it's bad play calling that's putting Anthony Richardson in danger. I think this is exactly what it was in Chicago, where they call plays for Anthony Richardson, and if he don't feel like he can make the throw or make the read, he take off and use his athleticism. Right now, until he can become a better pocket passer or better at reading defense and understanding what the defense want to do, that's his fallback option, his athleticism. However, while that is his fallback option, and listen, Anthony Richardson has shown flashes of potential, but his body just ain't holding up for some of these plays and some of these hits that he is taking. And if you, let's say, I hope not, but let's say he lose over half of the year this year off of this injury. I mean, that's technically what, a year and a half loss to injury, meaning he a year and a half technically behind. That's tough. That is very tough, especially with CJ Stroud in your division. So I'm concerned about Anthony Richardson, and if you're an Indy fan, no shot you're not concerned also. No, I think that the owners, the GMs, the head coach, all of them got to be concerned. You can come out and say that you trust AR, that's your quarterback, yada, yada, yada. I'm not questioning that. I'm saying it's hard to see him playing 10, 15 years in the NFL if they don't clean up his play style. Because if I wanted to go deeper, it would not even just be his play style. I feel like AR got a lot to work on as far as playing the quarterback position, but that's a conversation for another day. My recording device had died, and I went to bed because I was tired as hell, and I was yawning throughout the entirety of the show. You probably didn't hear it because I moved away from the mic every time I started yawning. But let's finish the show. Where we left off, I was talking about Anthony Richardson and my concern with Anthony Richardson and how he played the game and the fact that he is injured once again. Now, I haven't seen, it is now Monday, and I have not seen, so this is one of them rare episodes where it's a 2-day record session, but I have not seen the injury report on Anthony Richardson yet, and I looked for it. It might be out by the time this show come out, but I haven't seen it to this point. So I don't know how severe his injury is, but I know it's not a good thing that he has went down early in the season yet again. He nearly missed the entirety of last year. After, I think he went down in like week 4 or 5. It's week 4 this year and he done went down. I just don't think this is the way you live right now if you're the Colts, because it's not just the injury problems that concern me. The fact that he done went down like this twice. To me, the biggest concerning part is if you're looking at these games. If you look at an entire Colts game with Anthony Richardson starting, it's no way that you don't see. When I watch Anthony Richardson, I see a quarterback that need a lot of work right now, because I don't think that you can win consistently with what he bring to the table right now. Not even that. It's not what he bring to the table. Anthony Richardson right now need a lot of development, because when I'm watching these football games, it's a lot of easy throws he missed. He get off of his reads very quick to take off. This addiction to trying to play like Cam Newton, Cam Newton probably, if Cam Newton could have played less like Cam Newton, he probably would have in order to last longer in the league. Like, and Cam was a big dude. I know people talk about how tall Anthony Richardson is, how big he, but he ain't Cam Newton. Not to mention, you don't really want your quarterbacks playing like Cam Newton played. I'm not saying you can't run and whatnot. I'm talking about taking the type of punishment that Cam Newton took. Cam Newton took some crazy punishment. And he didn't get flagged. They didn't throw flags for Cam Newton most of the time. You don't want your quarterback playing like that. Anthony Richardson is not as big as Cam. He is not the thrower that Cam is. Because that's the thing people forget. Cam was still a great quarterback. Anthony Richardson right now is a developmental quarterback. And that is very clear to see. Once a game, he's going to give you a big play. It feel like he gonna hit the big play once a game possibly, but aside from that, it feel like all the in between in the game is terrible. Now, Joe Flacco came into this game and finished the game off for the Indy Colts, but just what I done seen from the games he started last year. As a matter of fact, the games he started last year look better than the games he done started this year, in my opinion, so far. Like, I think he looked better in his short stint last year than he did so far right now. And so, listen, I don't really like what I'm seeing from Anthony Richardson to start the season, to keep it a buck with you. I don't know if he was hurt for the majority of his offseason and rehabbing it. But I talked about how after your rookie season, that first offseason, after you leave your rookie season, to me is one of the most important things in your career when you're a young player, because that set the tone for how you go about your career the rest of the way. I'm not telling you that Anthony Richardson didn't have a great offseason this year, because like I said, but he probably was rehabbing and whatnot. But just based off of how he playing right now, I don't know how great that offseason was, because Anthony Richardson don't look like he got better. He looked like the same quarterback. Now, some people might say, well, he didn't have a full season behind him. If he keep playing like this, he's not going to make a full season in the NFL like Michael Vick. So, Shane Steichen, man, he got to figure out how to put Anthony Richardson in. And it's not even just Shane Steichen putting him in safer positions. Anthony Richardson got to understand, like, I can make these type of plays, but do I need to make these plays? I don't have to always try to make these plays. It's receivers on the field for a reason. Like, if AR was more elusive, but he has no elusivity. He's just a big dude who's trying to run through tackles. Kind of like Josh Allen. The difference, Josh Allen's body done held up. Josh Allen in year 6, 7, no major injuries. He done held up. So I can't go at Josh Allen. Do I want Josh Allen taking them type of hits that he took last night against the Ravens, or some of the hits that he take? No. I hate it when Josh Allen go airborne. But Josh Allen's body is clearly a body that can take this type of these type of hits, because he haven't got hurt yet. He haven't taken a major injury. He is there for the Bills every game. Like I said, you don't want him taking them hits, but clearly his body has withstood it. Anthony Richardson's body ain't withstanding the punishment he done took early in his NFL career. So if the Colts want a quarterback, because and the biggest problem, aside from all of the problems that with Anthony Richardson right now, the biggest problem that I can see is, if you the Colts, how do you game plan year after year when year 1 AR go down? You got to make do with Gardner Minshew. Year 2, he possibly go down. Now it's Joe Flacco. If you go down year 3 and you got to have another backup, like this is hurting the team. As players on that team, you just re-signed Michael Pittman Jr. to a good deal. What was the purpose if he ain't actually playing with AR for the majority of the next couple years? You got to find a way to get Anthony Richardson to understand, we need you on the field, my guy. Like, you have to change the way you play, because the way you play right now done got you off of the field way more than it's kept you on the field at this part of your career. If this was Lamar, when people kept talking about, oh, Lamar ain't gonna make it to this point, this is why I always get irritated, because clearly people don't watch Lamar. Lamar don't even take big hits. You could probably count on 2 hands how many big hits Lamar done taken throughout his career, because he got generational wiggle. It's insane the type of wiggle he got, the way he can cut back, maneuver around, like, I've never seen anything like it. It's absolutely insane. I've seen running backs who don't got this type of wiggle. AR does not have generational wiggle. He don't even got wiggle. So I want this dude to play a long career. I want him to develop, be great, but I don't see him making it past year 5 if they keep letting him play the way he playing right now. And another thing is, when you take the big hits that AR take, it could be a small hit that take him out because it re-aggravate an injury that he suffered from a big hit. So now every single hit is a problem. So I know you didn't draft Anthony Richardson. I'm going to tell you what's funny. Everybody be hating on Lamar, but you drafting quarterbacks to play like Lamar and Josh Allen right now and Pat Mahomes, who can run around and throw the ball, make off-script plays, carry teams when they don't have all the talent around. You draft quarterbacks nowadays to be like that, not to be like Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow has literally had talent littered all around him. You are not drafting a quarterback in Joe Burrow's image. People can say that foolish shit, but that is not what you're doing. You want a quarterback who, you know, if I don't have all the talent around me, he can still carry this team, like a Lamar, like a Mahomes, like a Allen. But when I'm looking at Anthony Richardson, when you the Colts, you did not draft this kid in order to have him play 3 games or 4 games year 1, a couple games year 2, you got to find a way to keep him on the field. And even if that means sitting him down saying, listen, we're going to limit your rush attempts. We need you to stand in the pocket and make plays. I know you don't want to take away what make Anthony Richardson special, but I said this a couple shows ago, I believe. And if I didn't, I'm going to say it now. I went back and been watching some of Anthony Richardson's film. Anthony Richardson ain't never really been an elite quarterback at any level. He done been an elite athlete, but he ain't never really truly been in it because he wasn't elite at Florida. He wasn't elite in Indy. In high school, did not watch. I did see some of his high school film, but I did not dive into high school film. But watching him in college and watching his games from last year and going back and watching a lot of his college film and a lot of his film from last year, Anthony Richardson ain't never really been an elite quarterback, like an elite thrower of the football, somebody who break down the defense and yada, yada, yada. So the Colts really should understand that they have a lot of development to do with Anthony Richardson to get him to where he need to be. And you want to know what's crazy? Anthony Richardson is probably closer to where Justin Fields started or where Justin Fields been at throughout his career. Like, I can see Justin Fields starting to develop a little bit now in because he done had his 2 best games of his career, in my opinion. The last 2 weeks with the Steelers. Now, granted, they're not really playing against no real competition. But the fact that I don't even think Justin Fields would have done this against bad teams last year is saying a lot. I'm trying to give him some type of credit. But Anthony Richardson right now, the way I kept saying Justin Fields got a lot of things to work on in his game. Like, right, I kept telling you that Justin Fields is in like year 3, but he still play like a college quarterback. But even worse, he don't play like a college quarterback in college. He play like a college quarterback in the NFL who just have not figured out how to play the NFL game yet. Anthony Richardson is possibly not that bad to a lot of people. But as I'm watching these games, if you take away the one big play he hit throughout these games, these is not good games from AR. Like, these look terrible. So you put that on top of, so he need to be coached up, developed, figure out how to keep him healthy. I know you don't want to tell him we need you to stay in the pocket because he an athlete, but something got to give, because if not, the Colts going to be drafting the quarterback in a couple years, if not the next 2 years, because I don't know how Anthony Richardson can stay healthy playing like this. I'm concerned. Not only just because of the health, but like I said, when I'm watching him play, I don't know why he was drafted where he was drafted, basically, off of looking at him play. It's kind of like when I watch Will Levis, except for it's kind of crazy because both of them are bad in their own ways and they both can make big plays. And I'm not shitting on neither one of them. Like, they still have time to be good quarterbacks, but just right now, I don't think neither one of them is good quarterbacks. Like, I know people see some of the upside of Anthony Richardson with his athletic ability and think that that's what give him the high ceiling. But right now, playing the quarterback position, he played it at an average to below average level, in my opinion. Just like Will Levis. Will Levis might not have the athletic ability of Anthony Richardson. But judging, this is like what people was doing with Zach Wilson and Justin Fields, where it's like Justin Fields could run, so he better than Zach Wilson. I mean, they both, if you look at their games and judge them off of what they do, they both are bad quarterbacks, regardless. Like, I don't care that Justin Fields can run. He's a bad quarterback. So that's kind of how I look at this right now. And these two, I understand they both is in their second year. Anthony Richardson didn't even play a full rookie year. However, right now they both just look like bad quarterbacks to me. So I'm not trying to take a shot at neither of them, but you know how I feel about Will Levis if you watch the show. I just think Will Levis continues to do things that I just feel like bad quarterbacks do game to game. Will Levis is doing bad shit game to game that make me, and that feeling that I had when I first watched Will Levis has not left. Like, I watch Will Levis and think to myself, this is not a quarterback who is going to be a franchise quarterback that help a team win consistently, because he just do too much stupid shit throughout the duration of games. So, and for Anthony Richardson, it's not even that he do stupid shit. I just don't know if he got to be developed. I think Anthony Richardson's best seasons will be when he got a great coach who put him in a phenomenal offense, and he got a lot of weapons around him where he ain't got to do shit. I think this addiction to hating on Lamar Jackson, but then trying to say everybody is Lamar Jackson, done got y'all in a weird space, because just because somebody can run does not make him Lamar Jackson. Just because somebody is black and can run does not make him Lamar Jackson. I don't understand why every Russian black quarterback get compared to Lamar Jackson, even though that's the quarterback that the media decide to hate the most. It's insane. Not to mention, when you watch these other quarterbacks, it is very evident that Lamar Jackson is on a far greater tier than any of these other quarterbacks y'all compare to him, not named Josh Allen, Pat Mahomes. It's just very clear. Like, I watched that Chiefs game yesterday, and I watched Justin Herbert, and I really don't understand, to be completely honest with you, because the Chargers scored 10 points in the first quarter, did not score the rest of the game. Justin Herbert is consistently put on top 10 quarterback lists, but every time this nigga lose, all I hear is he ain't got weapons. Oh, it's the coaching. Oh, it's the defense. Oh, it's the receivers. Oh, it's the offensive line. It's everybody but this motherfucker. And I'm starting to really get pissed off by that. I'm upset. Welcome to the segment. So, on today's I'm Upset, Justin Herbert, this ain't got nothing to do with you, but everything to do with you. Because Justin Herbert is a talented quarterback. I will not deny that. However, Justin Herbert is clearly not a winning quarterback. I said it last year. I said it the year before. It's key plays in these games that he does not make. They keep telling you that Lamar Jackson don't make big plays, but Lamar Jackson continuously beats great teams on the big stage. The only team he can't seem to beat consistently is the Chiefs. That's it. Meanwhile, Justin Herbert, I don't get it. He lose big game after big game after big game. Y'all hold on to them wins he had against the Chiefs like 2 years ago for some reason, just like y'all do Burrow. He don't. And then this is another thing. Those years where he beat the Chiefs in the regular season, who else did he beat in the regular season that year that was a big name team? None. So I don't understand this. And then those games ended up being not even big games. They were big games just off of Pat Mahomes and the Chiefs, but they meant nothing to the Chargers at the end of the season. You fast forward, mind you, they had weapons back at that point. Now I'm no fool. They don't have the weapons that they had back then. But I said it with Josh Allen. I said it with Lamar. I said it with Pat. When you are depleted of talent, they pick up the team, put them on their back, and they carry them. That is not what Justin Herbert does. Y'all keep telling me that, and the media, the white media, keep praising Justin Herbert for these fucking passing yards, for these passing stats that don't matter. And this is why I get irritated when they bring up Justin Herbert's passing stats. Because there's people in the media who will, when they talk about Dak Prescott, will say his passing stats don't matter because he does it when the game is already out of reach. Every time he getting blown out, that's when he start to pass for a lot of yards. So you can make that distinction about Dak. But how many games has Justin Herbert lost with a lot of passing yards? But you blame everybody but him. I do understand this double-sided coin on how you judge different quarterbacks. Nonetheless, here on Saints World, we judge them all the same, baby. Listen, well, it's different expectations for him. But the criteria and the judgment is basically all the same, if that makes sense. Listen, I like Justin Herbert. Think he a good quarterback. Do not think he is a winning quarterback because he has not shown he is a winning quarterback. He has not shown that he is the catalyst for winning for the Chargers. He has not shown you that he is the high tide that lifts all boats. And now he really got a chance to prove it. And what did they do? They won the first 2 weeks off of having a strong running game. Running game haven't looked like it looked the first 2 weeks, and what done happened? The team back to looking average, below average. And the first thing the media want to yell, they ain't got enough talent, they ain't got enough talent, they ain't got enough talent. That's not what they was yelling when Lamar Jackson needed help out there. I just got done watching that show, The Facility, or a segment of that show with Acha, Kuncho, Shady, James Jones, and Chase Daniels. They was all on Josh Allen's nuts on the week prior to the game. The games after the game, today after the loss, all I hear is Josh Allen need help. The Bills don't have anybody. But that's not what you said when they was beating the dog shit out of these other teams. You could have been a great analyst and said, well, you know, the Bills are playing good right now, but they haven't really necessarily played against any top talent that would push them for us to really see what the Bills are. Instead, they took the approach that most of the media does with white quarterbacks that have a good game, regardless of who they play against. They celebrate it. Oh, that's the best quarterback in the NFL. Oh, that's MVP. You lose to the Ravens, and Lamar is, Lamar got more talent at his disposal than Josh Allen. But I didn't hear that when Josh Allen had more talent at his disposal than Lamar. I never hear that when Joe Burrow come into every game against Lamar with more talent. I never heard that when Lamar had to play against the Chiefs with less talent. I never hear these things until it's against the quarterbacks that you like, that the media consider their white knights. If this was Lamar Jackson and they had lost like this, they would have said, he got to figure it out. He got to figure out how to put the team on his back and win these games. They would have pointed out every missed throw, every situation where they felt like, well, Lamar could have done something. For Josh Allen, for Joe Burrow, for Justin Herbert. They ain't got enough talent around them. They need help. The defense not doing good enough. That's all I done heard about Joe Burrow the last couple weeks. The defense. What did y'all say when the offense blew it for the Bengals in the Super Bowl? I didn't hear the defense then. Because the year that they got to the Super Bowl, the Bengals had one of the best defenses in the NFL on all three levels. I didn't hear you praising the defense then. But now that the defense's pieces done left, it's the defense fault. It's the defense fault. When Lamar Jackson win last year was, the defense carried him. See, you only care about the defense when it can help you with a narrative against a quarterback. But when your quarterback loses and you look at the defense and the stats don't look the way you want them to look, it's the defense. This is why I tell you the media is a monster, okay? They keep telling you why you bring race into it, because the media is racist. It's very simple. It is very simple. You got very few sports analysts who talk about this game from an unbiased perspective, who can leave their white man thoughts out of it, who can legitimately judge these players and quarterbacks based off of what they see on the field. It was this white dude on Twitter yesterday who tried to comment to me talking about the reason black quarterbacks are judged like this is because they lose their athleticism. And the dude that he used and can no longer throw, and the dude that he uses his example, you're never going to guess who he uses as example unless you just saw the tweet. Nigga used Geno fucking Smith as his example to why black quarterbacks are treated the way they are treated and why white quarterbacks are treated. Now, I didn't engage with this dude except to tell him that I'm not finna engage in a conversation about this topic because what he said was fucking stupid. And I know to him it sounded brilliant because stupid shit usually sound brilliant to dumbasses. But I wasn't willing to go down that road with him. And he believed that I still was engaging with him. And then he wrote this long thing thinking that his wordplay was going to get me to still try to talk about this topic. But he didn't realize after I had sent that last tweet, that was basically me telling him to move the fuck along. I'm not having no stupid ass debate with a stupid ass person. As soon as he tried to use Geno Smith to back all black quarterbacks, I immediately said to myself, this nigga's racist. Because ain't no way. If you sit down and you talk about black quarterbacks throughout the history of football, the great ones, when the fuck would Geno Smith's name ever come out? Do you know how racist you got to be to pull out Geno just on purpose? For one, that nigga Geno was never the athlete that some of the historically great athletic black quarterbacks are. So the fact that he tried to say black quarterbacks are athletic and lose that and then said Geno was one of them as an example. What are we even talking about right now? This is why I tell y'all, you can't have sports conversations with everybody because some people are just fucking retarded. And I know that is not a word that we're supposed to use. And that shit really just slipped. But that is my true unfiltered thoughts on the situation. Because Chris Broussard said it best. I just don't understand it. But back to Justin Herbert. At what point in time is at what point in time is the white media going to hold this dude to any type of standard? You go up 10-0. You do not score the rest of the game. To try to blame, and mind you, I don't want to hear that defense shit. It was 17-10, buddy. It was 17-10. The defense didn't give up 20 points. This is a game, in my opinion, the offense should have found a way to make a play. To ask your defense to hold the Chiefs to 0 points when you had 10 and you don't score again for 3 quarters is insanity. It's ridiculous. Makes no sense. That's Pat fucking Mahomes on the other side of that ball. Let's be real. I don't understand the Chargers. You have Jim Harbaugh. I don't see Jim Harbaugh's influence other than week 1 and 2 where they run the ball a lot. I see people complaining about Greg Roman, but I'm here to tell you this. You complained when they had the coach that they had last year. You complained when they had the offense that they ran the last couple of years. Now you're complaining about Greg Roman. You eventually probably start complaining about Jim Harbaugh. This is my problem with the media. They done put Justin Herbert in this light where it can never be him. It's always the people around him. What is Justin Herbert's resume? This is why I can't stand sports media, to be completely honest with you, because this shit only happens with white quarterbacks. Look at Lamar Jackson's resume. And this nigga get questioned at every turn. Justin Herbert does not even have a playoff win. This nigga ain't even won the division in the regular season. Bro, Justin Herbert, if I'm correct, has not even finished 5 games over 500 in his career in the regular season. I don't even know if Justin Herbert is over 500 in his entire career. But he can't be critiqued. He can't be talked about. It's always got to be somebody else. This is the same shit they do for for Burrow. And the only great thing Burrow done in his career was get to a Super Bowl and lose it, which is a team accomplishment that only he get credit for somehow. He ain't done shit since that moment. But he's above critique and criticism. I gotta stop saying I don't understand it, because I understand it perfectly. Now, I don't understand it when these black analysts like Marcus Spears, Ryan Clark get on TV and seem to be not keep the same energy. Because Ryan Clark will get on TV and call out Lamar Jackson at every turn, and then just hand Joe Burrow excuse after excuse. Why? Because he went to LSU like you? That makes absolutely no sense. This is why I hate ESPN. It's why I hate FS1. In FS1, the reason you don't really hear me bring them up unless I talk about Cuncho is because that is by far one of the worst sporting networks I'd have ever experienced. Like ESPN is bad. FS1, Satan wouldn't bother taking the shit on that show, on that network, because of how they got Nick Wright and Emmanuel Acho running 2 different shows on that channel. As much as people don't like Colin Cowherd, and he said a lot of stupid shit, he might be the only actually credible analyst on that show. Like the only good, legit, unbiased at most of the time analyst on that show. I know he said a lot of stupid shit, because he still got that stupid in him. And you got to remember, he is still white. They cannot help it at times. However, FS1 is hot. I was going to say FS1 is hot fucking garbage. That's why you rarely hear. I like to say ESPN FS1 because I don't like leaving them niggas out. But my God, I hate FS1. I hate ESPN too, but FS1, you don't understand. That is such a bad fucking. They had Jason Whitlock on that motherfucker. Nick Wright. They got that goofy motherfucker that's on Colin Cowherd's show, Jason McIntyre. Like, it's like Rob Parker was on. They took the collection of the absolute worst sports analysts possible and put them all on the same network. Skip Bayless was on that fucking network. Like, come on, man. Shannon was never going to, as much as I disagree and don't like a lot of the shit Shannon be talking about as far as like his sports takes, it is no denying Shannon is a far better sports analyst than any of them motherfuckers over there on FS1. And Joy, I understand. Joy is great at her job also. She a little biased sometimes on some of her topics, but Joy, you are nowhere near as bad as some of these motherfuckers. Neither is Shady. I'm still iffy on James Jones, but everybody else, and I truly mean this, but except for Kevin Wilds, everybody, and I like Broussard. I don't understand why Broussard is on this network. He is clearly somebody who should be on the ESPN, not because ESPN is good, because ESPN, while it's a lot of people on ESPN who I don't think are good at their jobs, ESPN does have some decent to great analysts who actually are great at breaking down and talking the sport. Chris Broussard is on the show with a fucking, I wanted to use that R word again, man. Nick Wright is easily on my top 5 list of worst sports analysts to ever live, to ever speak into a fucking mic, to ever be given 15 minutes. And I don't know how Chris Broussard do this shit every year. I really don't. But Justin, you did not get out of this. We are back. Justin Herbert, I don't know what it's going to take. I don't know what it's going to take for people to start giving this man the legit criticism that he is supposed to be getting. Game after game after big game after big game after games that could be big games, he find a way to lose them. But he throw for a lot of yards though. This year he ain't throwing for the yards and they ain't winning the big games yet. To me, the Chargers season will probably end the exact same way it's done ended the last couple years. That's what I see from this Charger team. Now somebody gonna be like, well, Saint, they got injuries. They always got injuries. Every team in the NFL. I get so irritated when people use that they hurt. If Justin Herbert is who you say he is, if he ain't hurt, then he should still figure it out. That's what you tell me when it comes to Lamar. That's what I expect when it comes to Lamar, Mahomes, Allen. They might not have it all together. And see, I'm lenient. I'm very lenient. Because I only hold 3 quarterbacks in that category to where I don't care who missing. I expect them to figure it out. Now, Lamar and Josh Allen have suffered crazy injuries to their team. I remember the year Lamar Jackson basically lost every single starter on the defensive side of the ball. And he still had to figure that out. And eventually I think he got them to the playoffs, but he got hurt at the end of the year and Tyler Huntley had to stank it up and cost us with that dumbass fumble. But nonetheless, Josh Allen, look at the defensive players he missing this year. I mean, all the great players on their defense is out. Johnson, all pro, Matt Milano. You get rid of Tre'Davious. I mean, they are Bernard hurt. And they still have to figure out how to win games. We don't give Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. Well, there's white analysts out there who do give Josh, but most intelligent football minds do not give Lamar, Mahomes, Allen the excuses that, for some reason, Justin Herbert continues to get. It's almost like he have them built-in excuses at this point. Accomplished nothing. It's treated as if he is a 10-time Super Bowl champion. I don't get it. Every time we talk about the Chargers, every time I hear people talk about the Chargers, the first thing they do is find somebody to blame, not name Justin Herbert, unless it's Cuncho, because Cuncho seemed to really have it out for Justin Herbert. But I can't even disagree with him at this point. What's the big plays, the big throws? Like, every time I'm watching these dudes play, oh, it's a drop, it's a drop, it's a drop. Lamar Jackson had drops last night. Lamar Jackson had dealt with drops all throughout his career. So have Allen. So have Mahomes. They don't get that excuse. Of course, the fan base is going to say something about those drops. But the national media don't get on TV and say, well, obviously, Josh Allen do get that excuse a lot because the white analysts. But for the most part, the good analysts who are unbiased, they don't give Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, and Pat Mahomes excuses of, unless it's a big drop in a big moment. If you drop the ball and it's still a lot of time in the game, we expect those quarterbacks to still figure it out. It's the pressure come with being a great player. It's the pressure to come with being a future Hall of Famer. That's the pressure to come with being one of the best players at your position. You get those lofty expectations. You know, I'm another thing that I'm upset about. I saw people a long upset segment today. Because something else that I saw on Twitter where I saw somebody say it's time for us to, I hope I can go find that tweet and put it on the screen. And they said, I hope people start to realize Sam Darnold, Baker midfield, and he didn't say midfield, but you know, that's what I call Bake. And who was the other dude? Geno Smith are all good quarterbacks who were, I hope we realize it was the organization, not the player. And see, that shit right there really pissed me off because you can have a bad organization and still have a bad player. It is not one thing have to or the other. It can be both. Like, I don't understand why people think it's got to be one or the other. No, you can be a bad organization and have a bad quarterback. It don't have to be just, oh yeah, this is a bad organization, so that's why the quarterback ended bad. No, that is not. And not to mention, the only reason y'all think some of these organizations are great organizations is because they have had a great quarterback at the helm for so long. I done heard a lot of bad things about the Colts, but a lot of people think the Colts are a great organization because Peyton and Andrew Luck carried that franchise for so long. I done heard a ton of bad things about the Patriots. You thought that was a great organization because Tom Brady stabilized that organization for so long. Baltimore with Joe Flacco, now Lamar. The Bills now with Josh Allen. Anytime an organization have a great quarterback that is there for a long time, we tend to think that that is a good organization. The Falcons when they had Matt Ryan. The Carolina Panthers when they had Cam Newton. We tend to think these are great organizations or good run organizations when you have a great quarterback. They tend to play hand in hand a lot of the times. However, I am so sick of hearing that excuse that, oh, this quarterback was only bad because Baker Mayfield was not good in Cleveland. Like, can we stop trying to rewrite this nigga's history? He was not good in Cleveland. He had defensive players. Matter of fact, he had the talent on defense and he had the talent on offense. He was the problem in Cleveland. He had a coach of the year in Kevin Stefanski. We done seen Stefanski without Baker Mayfield. His offense haven't looked bad without Baker. It looked bad with Sean. But we done seen his offense look great with other players around. His offense looked better with Brissett than it did with Baker. It looked better with Flacco than it did with Baker. So this rewriting of these bad quarterbacks who now seem to play a niche because teams needed quarterbacks. Baker Mayfield went 9-8 last year in one of the worst divisions, if not the worst division in football. And now all of a sudden, He's some superstar top 10 quarterback. He beating up, if you want to say beating up on. He getting wins against the sorry ass NFC. I'm so happy he got to play the Ravens this year. I want to see them play the Chiefs. I want to see them play the Bills. Yeah, they got more talent than the Bills. Does not matter. This thing where a bad quarterback can have high expectations and play bad and not live up to that expectations, like a Trevor Lawrence, like a Baker Mayfield, like a Sam Darnold, like a Geno Smith. All quarterbacks drafted high. All quarterbacks who did not live up to those high draft standards. When the expectations were lowered because we no longer give them those expectations, now they start to look decent. And now all of a sudden, we were wrong. It was the organization. The organization didn't hire these dudes to be average, to be good when all the talent around them is good. They hired these dudes to be the game changer. They drafted these dudes to be the game changer. They took them number 1 for some of these dudes because they thought they were going to be dudes. They took them in the top 5 for some of these dudes because they thought they were going to be dudes. They weren't. And then when the expectations were no longer there, they started to play decent to average football. It's crazy to me how simple-minded some of you morons are on Twitter. You niggas just say shit for engagement. Because there's no reason you should be looking at Sam. I saw Stephen A. Smith say today, how can Baltimore be one of the best teams when Minnesota out there? Nigga, Sam Darnold is the quarterback of that team. This the same shit Ryan Clark did last year when he said, nah, I trust Jared Goff more than every quarterback in the NFL not named Pat Mahomes or Joe Burrow. Then he said, and Josh Allen. You know who he purposely left out? Was the person that Jared Goff had to play that week. Lamar Jackson. The white analysts don't give him his credit, and neither do these stupid niggas on ESPN. What did Lamar proceed to do to the Lions? Beat they ass. I don't think that Jared Goff done beat Lamar Jackson since he done been in Detroit. We done played him 3 or 4 times. He lose every time. But yeah, you trust Jared Goff more than Lamar Jackson. You can't make this shit up. You can't make this shit up. And every time because Lamar Jackson's resume is better than a lot of these quarterbacks, they start going to team accomplishments for these white quarterbacks. It's very telling. But, you know, my irritation is at an all-time high when I see niggas do that. Boost up Baker. Boost up Goff. Boost up Sam Darnold. Yeah, they playing good right now. To me, Baker might be the best one out of all of them to be legitimate, but he play in an ass division. He don't got the pressure of having to play against the Ravens every year, the Bengals every year, the Steelers every year, the Chiefs every year, the Bills every year, the Dolphins every year. He don't got that type of pressure no more. He ain't got to go see Lamar 2 times a year. He ain't got to play Burrow 2 times a year. He ain't got to play that Steeler defense with TJ Watt 2 times a year. He ain't got to play Mahomes once a year. He ain't got to play Josh Allen once a year. He can live in the NFC, the far weaker quarterback-led conference, and people can act like he still lived up to that number 1 draft prospect, that number 1 draft ranking. It's embarrassing. It's disgusting. And this is exactly why I hate sports media and feel like it's a need for me. Because the shit's ridiculous. They just don't tell y'all the truth on these shows. I got no ill will towards any of them quarterbacks. But when we got legitimate great quarterbacks out there that flip. How did you feel about Kansas City's organization before Pat Mahomes got there? I didn't hear nobody screaming that was a great organization before Pat. I didn't hear nobody. Of course, we know Baltimore is a great run organization, but they were floundering before Lamar got there. It's quarterbacks who are clearly dudes. I don't like it when you try to give niggas excuses of, oh, it was the franchise that cost them. The Ravens done took an eternity to bring in talent for Lamar Jackson. He's a playoff team every year. He's a top team. He done won the AFC multiple. He done had his team as the best team in the AFC. Multiple times. So is Mahomes. I don't think the Bills done ever been number 1 in the AFC, but they done been damn near close every year. And Josh Allen is a dude. So I don't like it when motherfuckers hop on Twitter talking about these dudes were good. It was just the organization. What has the Bills done for Josh Allen as far as getting him talent since he done been there? This has become Allen carrying them, not them carrying Allen. So these silly excuses that you make for dudes who had high expectations, didn't live up to them. We replaced those high expectations with expectations we pretty much have for backup quarterbacks, average quarterbacks, and they start to exceed those expectations. But the bar is already so low. Those expectations are nowhere near what we expect out of Lamar, Mahomes, Allen, Burrow, and some of the other ones. I hate comments like that. It upset me. I'm not gonna lie. And that's that segment. But I want to talk about a little bit about this Ravens game and Chiefs game. I mean Ravens and Bills game real quick, because there's some things that I saw in this game that really, really excited me. Beautiful sights. Just beautiful sights. That is actually a new segment on the show, but you're not going to be happy because I just told y'all that a lot of these segments won't have Ravens related things on it. But it was some beautiful sights that I saw tonight in that Ravens game. And one thing in particular definitely made the list. And that is Marlon Humphrey. Give me a second. Now, beautiful sights is things that Saints saw this week. It just made them happy. It's just a beautiful thing to see. Now, it was no way this segment could kick off without Marlon Humphreys being on it. Because you see, Marlon Humphreys done dealt with injuries the past couple years. A slippage in play a little bit the last couple years. But I done still looked at Marlon Humphreys as a good cornerback. Not a top cornerback anymore, but a guy who can hold his job down for a while. But this slippage was there. Go look at Marlon Humphreys this year. Marlon Humphrey is looking like all-pro Marlo once again. He is by far the Ravens' best cornerback, right? And it is not close. Brandon Stevens is the guy who Josh Allen decided to pick on when he could pick on somebody tonight. Not Marlon Humphreys. He couldn't do little to nothing against Marlon Humphreys. And one of the things that's always made Marlon a special corner is his ability to tackle. When he decided to tackle right, instead of trying to throw big hits and throw his body around and take injuries. When he decided to actually tackle the way he was trained to tackle, it's special because you don't got a lot of cornerbacks who tackle like that. That's why I like Jalen Ramsey. I don't know when Jalen Ramsey became this thumper, but he just out of nowhere became a great tackling cornerback. And that's special when you have run plays like receiver screens and shit like that. When a cornerback can come up and you know they can make the tackle and you're not waiting for the defensive back, the linebacker to have to maneuver around and make that tackle. It's a great thing because that means you can shoot that play with a cornerback and not have to worry about that corner getting broken or beaten or something like that. So it's a great thing when you got cornerbacks who can tackle because that do a lot for a defense. When it's plays that will not exist when you have great tackling cornerbacks. Marlon Humphreys, all-pro Marlo. I know a lot of people like to go at him on Twitter and whatnot because people don't like it that he can play football and have a podcast. People want him to just play football, but I said it on the last episode. To me, it's just brain dead behavior telling motherfuckers to only focus on their job when he get paid to do a podcast. Also, broke people like being broke. They don't like it when rich people have multiple avenues of to be rich. And also, fans are fucking stupid. Fans think just because I root for your team, you better be in the gym 24/7 doing what you need to do to win a Super Bowl for my enjoyment. That's not how this shit works. I say it all the time. Fans have a mental problem. Fans are a bunch of jackasses. That's why I don't like them. But if you watch the tape, the film from this year, Marlon Humphreys is playing phenomenal football. I mean, he is playing all-pro football right now. It's no question. He is back to being a great tackler. He is back to being a lockdown man cover. He is back. The little simple plays that Marlo would give up consistently and just make the tackle or try to knock the ball out afterwards, not doing that. The getting lost in coverage. Not doing that. Like Marlo just started to make a lot of mistakes and bad plays, and I don't know if it was because he was always hurt, so he was trying to come back from injuries and whatnot. But Marlon Humphrey right now looked like the Marlon Humphrey from a couple years ago when he was one of the top cornerbacks in the league. And that is and I understand Baltimore got the worst pass defense in the NFL, but I keep telling you, a lot of that don't got to do with Marlon Humphrey. A lot of that got to do with Brandon Stevens and the linebackers. But when you look at how Marlon Humphreys is playing right now, Josh Allen couldn't do anything against him. Like, that was legitimately a locked down. Whoever Marlon was on, he was locking him down for the most part. His resurgence into the Ravens' best cornerback is exactly what they needed, because I continue to say it. Brandon Stevens is, to me, not a great cornerback. He play hard. He win some of his. I just don't think he have the balls. For one, he clearly is not a ball hawk, because the way he defend the man, not the ball. And every time he feel like he defended somebody great, they still make great catches on him. Like Brandon Stevens give up. He kind of remind me of Kerry. When Kerry used to be, I can't remember his first name. Kerry Williams, I think was his name. He used to be the light-skinned Ravens cornerback that won a Super Bowl with us. Early in his career, even Jimmy Smith in the beginning, they would play routes good, but Tom Brady specifically used to beat them on the simplest routes because he knew that they played the player, not the ball. And as long as my receiver attack the ball, they'll be fine. And then Jimmy Smith learned, okay, I can use my length, my size, my height to not just play receivers, but to play the ball. So he became aggressive when it came to being able to knock the ball out of people's hands, being able to knock it down, getting the interceptions when he could. Jimmy Smith was a talent. I don't even know if it's a better cornerback. Prime Jimmy Smith for the Ravens. I haven't seen a cornerback come through here yet that's better than prime Jimmy Smith. Granted, like I said, Jimmy Smith was tall. He had the length. He had the ball skills. Like Ladarius Webb and Jimmy Smith combo, good Lord. Marlo is phenomenal. He don't have the ball skills that Ladarius had, because Ladarius is a ball hawk. But when you look at what Jimmy Smith did for the Ravens defense, like Jimmy Smith, it was a time, if you're a Raven fan, you know this. It was a time where if Jimmy Smith got hurt, the defense just went to hell because they could not cover outside receivers without Jimmy on the field. When Jimmy was healthy, the Ravens defense was top in the NFL. I still remember to this day when Jordy Nelson, who was a top receiver during his time in the league, he sat down, and I think it was on the Pat McAfee show, they asked him who was the toughest cornerback he'd ever had to play against. And he said, Jimmy Smith from the Ravens. He said, I could never figure him out. He said, because he was tall, he was lanky, he was fast, he was strong. Jimmy Smith is who I think you niggas think Brandon Stevens is. He is not. Brandon Stevens, and I'm not trying to go with Brandon Stevens. I'm really not. And I know this has been like a constant thing every week. It seemed like Patrick Queen gone, so now this is the new Raven that I go at. But it's not me going at these dudes. And Brandon Stevens is far better than a lot of corners that you could have at this position. However, when a quarterback start to realize the dude that I need to attack is Brandon Stevens, because it's happening weekly, where quarterbacks make the decision. We don't have success against Humphreys. Let's go at Stevens. Dak did it. Minshew did it. Like, every single quarterback is going at Brandon Stevens. Not to mention, Brandon Stevens guarding Devontae Adams, single coverage, by himself, that made no sense. I understand not putting Marlo on him if you think Marlo's still recovering from an injury or something like that, even though I would prefer Marlon Humphreys be on him, even though Marlon Humphreys do like to give up these deep shots to great receivers. I still would like Marlo defending him. On top of that, I don't even want Marlo defending him one-on-one. I want double coverage. I don't care how great a cornerback is. They always going to get beat by a great receiver. Great receivers are always still going to have the ability to beat great corners, just like great corners have the ability to beat great receivers. But it's going to happen. I would still rather have Marlo on him than Brandon Stevens, because Brandon Stevens, to me, has become the dude that every team look at and say, that's who we need to attack if we're going to have success against this defense. Josh Allen did it last night when he tried to make the comeback. Dak did it the week prior. Gardner Minshew did it the week before that. The Chiefs game ain't fresh in my mind for me to remember if it happened in that game. So I'm looking at this Ravens game and I'm thinking to myself, man, they're going to have to figure something out when it comes to this cornerback position, because it's great that the Marlon Humphreys look like old Marlon Humphreys. It's a beautiful sight. It really is. But boy, it's two sides of every coin, isn't it? The other thing that I want to talk about, and this is not a part of the Beautiful Sight segment. That's the end of the first part of the Beautiful Sight segment. We'll have something else on it later. But I want to talk about the Bills real quick, because I was looking at these analysts say like the Bills the best team in the NFL, yada, yada, yada. And I knew they weren't the best team in the NFL. But I didn't really I did have a problem with them saying that also. But I love Josh Allen. So I'm never going to fight that as hard as I would, like if motherfuckers like the Bucks is the best team, and like when motherfuckers say the Vikings the best team, and they still have Sam Darnold at the helm, my guy. They're not the best team in the NFL. I don't care if the Chiefs was 1-3 right now. I would take the Chiefs over the Vikings every day of the fucking week. But I'm watching the Bills, and the first 3 weeks, I don't think they played against like the competition that they would have to beat in order to get to a Super Bowl. And so I didn't really make any type of grand proclamations other than my boy Josh Allen is playing great football. Now they play against a Ravens team, a team that we know is a contender with a top 3 quarterback in the NFL on the squad. Or not even, it don't even matter that Lamar is a top 3 quarterback. A great quarterback at the helm with a great team behind him and a great coach. I wanted to see what the Bills did against that, because my irritation with the Bills is, I told you this with Pat Mahomes. The worst thing that could happen for Pat Mahomes is that he could win Super Bowls without Tyreek Hill, because the Chiefs will never get him another receiver. Now, I was wrong. They ended up getting him receivers. Thank God. He just had to wait like a little while. But Pat Mahomes is it's incredible what he did without the talent. Josh Allen, they doing the exact same thing to him. They did not replace Stephon Diggs. They didn't bring over other talent when Stephon Diggs was here. They expected Allen to figure it out all by himself. And in the playoffs, Allen could possibly take it to another. I have no doubt Allen would figure out how to get it to another level to give his team the best possibility to win a game. However, when teams that are good with good quarterbacks have just way more talent than you, it becomes impossible at times to figure out. Because it's not just Josh Allen trying to figure out how to stop Baltimore's defense. With all the injuries he got on his defensive side of the ball, now he got to figure out, how do I keep scoring? Because our defense can't stop Lamar. Our defense can't stop Mahomes. Our defense can't stop Burrow. Like, well, Burrow and company. So, at this very moment, it is. I don't like what I see from the Bills. I already was irritated with the Bills a couple. Now, this didn't make the I'm upset segment because I wasn't really that upset about it compared to how I was about the other shit. But I don't really like that the Bills continue to make Josh Allen have to be Superman. But then Sean McDermott and other people will go in the media and say, we don't really want him to play like this. We'll talk to him about it. We don't really want him to be Superman and take these type of hits. I mean, but you kind of do. Because who the fuck have y'all brought over to take the pressure off of him? I kept saying, who do the Ravens have? Who do they bring in that makes Lamar better? It can't keep being about who Lamar makes better. It have to be at some point in time, who makes Lamar better? Who on that team makes Josh Allen better? Who on that team makes Josh Allen better? I was feeling my Dr. Umar right there. He be saying shit like 3 times. Who on this team made Josh Allen better? Who on this team makes Josh Allen better? Brothers and sisters, I say, who on this team makes Josh Allen better? Shout out Dr. Umar. But yeah, I don't know who on this team makes Josh Allen better. And that is the biggest problem right now with the Buffalo Bills. And that is going to haunt them when they have to play against the Chiefs, the Ravens, the Bengals. You have to have and listen, I wasn't scared when they played against the Dolphins, who clearly have more talent than them, but Josh Allen just have a psychological advantage over that team at this point. He just take them to the woodshed every time he play them. But against the Ravens, against the Chiefs, against the Bengals, who I expect to eventually turn it around now that all the talent is healthy and playing, this is going to be tough for the Bills to have to figure this out. Your talent depleted on defense. You kept letting talent just walk out the building, and then the talent that you kept is hurt. You never bought into going out and getting Josh Allen a shitload of proven talent. You got him Stephon Diggs, and then you stop there. He done made Dawson Knox better. He done made I ain't finna go down the names. Every player on that offense, not named Diggs, was made better by Allen, not the other way around. I don't know how this is going to be a tough season. I don't think it's going to be a tough season as far as statistically for Josh Allen. Like, I think my boy going to figure it out. But against the great to good, the beauty for this and Josh is the only two teams that I can truly see, like Josh, three, is the Bengals, the Chiefs, and the Ravens. Because the Bengals just have way too much talent offensively at them receiving position still. So they will probably go in there and beat the dog shit out of the Bills again. They'll probably put up a good fight against against the Chiefs, but I don't see them beating the Chiefs either. And with that defense not being able to stop a legitimate run game, well, and I understand that Lamar is back there with Derek, but them is the three teams that I just don't see the Bills being able to figure out how to beat if they don't go get Josh Allen, a proven weapon. I don't understand why you don't go try to trade for DeAndre Hopkins. I think DeAndre Hopkins would be great for the Bills right now. They ain't winning shit over there in Tennessee. That should be a move that you try to make. You should have tried to make that move last year before he was even signed by the Bills. By the Titans. But it's not a ton of other receivers out there that they can go get unless it's a young receiver that I'm just not thinking about that could be traded. Like, I would probably go try to trade for one of them receivers over there in Chicago. I know they just paid DJ Moore. I know they traded for Keenan Allen, but it don't seemingly matter that they got that type of talent at the receiving position over there in Chicago. I would try to trade for one of those two. They need to go get Josh Allen a weapon, a legitimate weapon who can beat man-on-man coverage. Because what I saw last night, can't none of them dudes get off the press. Can't none of them dudes beat their man one-on-one. They need Josh Allen to be great for them to be able to have that extra time to be able to beat somebody. So I don't like, and I've been saying it for like the last 2 years, I really don't like how the Bills have run this thing since they got Josh Allen. People can continue to say that the organization has ran good because of the results Josh Allen get. This is not a team that's done the most, that's gotten them. The Bills have not done enough, nearly enough, to get the most out of Josh Allen. Like, to me, this has become a very one-sided relationship where Josh Allen is doing far more for the Bills than the Bills are doing for Josh Allen as far as helping him win a Super Bowl. Because what the fuck is this roster right now? See, I'm glad I'm not one of them people who was hyping up the Bills to start the year off like, oh, yeah, see, they beating the dog shit out of every team. They the best team. No. Certain teams Josh Allen's supposed to beat because that's Josh Allen leading that Bills team. I don't understand why some people don't understand that. Josh Allen, the teams that y'all think are good teams, like if Josh Allen went to go play against Detroit right now, I'd take Detroit. I would take Buffalo. Because Josh Allen gonna figure out how to win that type of game. Now, if you took Lamar and traded him with Goff, then I would take Detroit. Because that's Lamar Jackson leading that team. That's Josh Allen's equal. It's no shame in losing to your equal. Josh Allen does not usually lose to guys that are not his equal. Lamar, Mahomes, and Allen have made a career basically out of beating exactly who they supposed to beat. I'm worried. And this could be because I'm biased and I'm a big Josh Allen fan. I love Josh Allen. But I just don't. And really, this is me going to bat for Josh the way I went to bat for Lamar. I just don't like seeing talented players have their careers wasted because the organization has done little to nothing to really help them. But the media keeps saying, oh, yeah, they done everything to help. James Cook is an all right running back. You saw the difference last night between James Cook and a Derrick Henry. You see the difference every week when you look at great running backs and you look at James Cook. To say they got him a running back, Josh Allen a running back, is foolish. They took his best receiver and traded him away. I just don't understand what the Bills thought would happen when they compete against the upper echelon teams when this is a talent depleted team. You were literally asking Josh Allen, figure it out, just like they asked Lamar Jackson the last couple of years. And as much as I like Sean McDermott, he is not John Harbaugh. So those years where you could trust John Harbaugh would figure something out to keep putting Lamar in position and be successful, I don't trust Sean McDermott to do that. For one, I don't even like Sean McDermott always talking down on his quarterback in a sense of saying, yeah, we don't really like Josh playing like that, yada, yada. Bro, I am very strict when it comes to talking up on your quarterback. Dead ass. Every time John Harbaugh speak on Lamar Jackson is positive. Every time you talk about Josh Allen is why you are employed, my guy. He will be there longer than you. Every time you open your mouth to talk about him to the media, it better be glowingly. If they say, how do you feel like Josh Allen played? Oh, you know, he missed a couple targets all night. You know, the way he played. What the fuck's wrong with you? If I'm a head coach and Josh Allen is my quarterback, Josh, Lamar, Pat, and we lose a game, especially in the fashion that they lost it in last night, you know what I'm going to the media and saying? I didn't do my job. I didn't put my team in position, especially my talented quarterback, my franchise quarterback, in position to be successful. Because they carry us throughout the majority of the years. So now that we have less than talent, it's up to me to figure out how to put talent that we do have in position for Josh to have success. It can't just be Josh missed some throws. Why did he miss those throws? Did I put these players in position to be successful for him? Did my OC put him to put players in position to be? We know what we had going into this game. Josh know what we had going into this game. I know what Josh is. I can't question Josh missing a couple throws because he done made far more throws and big plays than he done missed. That's why I get irritated when people talk crazy about Lamar. The upside that Josh bring us is far greater than the upside of anything else on this team could bring us. So when we go out there and we lose a game like this, that's on me, not on Josh. Because Josh didn't turn the ball over crazy last night. Josh didn't go out there and just have some terrible game. When I look at the game plan, I didn't call a good game. I didn't put I hope he wouldn't say the N-word. I didn't put people in position to be successful for Josh to have success. It's not, oh, he missed a couple throws. Now, if I want to be critical of Josh, I'll do that behind the scenes. I'll do that when I'm talking to Josh. Motherfuckers think, oh, tough love players. No. You're employed because of me. Okay? If this team was ass right now, and I was ass, if I wasn't on this team, you would be fired. Because this is not a Super Bowl champion team. This is not a Super Bowl roster. Even the last couple years when you didn't have a decent defense, you would have been fired. Because I am the quarter. Unless you had a Mahomes, a Allen, or me. A Jackson or me. Wasn't nobody else doing what I've been doing with this team for the last couple years. So, I like McDermott. I think he's a decent head coach, but come on, buddy. Watch how he talk about Josh, buddy. You should be on that man's knockers after a game, taking all the blame. Because he gonna keep you in your job far longer than you're gonna keep him in his. Now, I want to talk about something else that I saw yesterday. In this Bucks game. It wasn't actually in the Bucks game. It happened before the Bucks game where they were talking about Baker was like, they wanted me over here because they wanted me to be me. They didn't have a lot of fun with Brady. Bro, shut the fuck up. If they told you that, they're lying because y'all are winning. Who in God's name wanted you over there over Brady? That's one. Two, who the fuck just wanted Baker as their quarterback coming off of the seasons he was coming off of, bro? Stop it. They didn't have no fun with Brady. Fuck out of here. So, playing with Baker, you know y'all not going to a Super Bowl with Baker. The only chance y'all got is if the NFC is so weak and that San Fran come back down to life, that it balance everything out. Which people keep saying they like parity. To me, parity is one of the worst things in sports. You need to have top teams in order to have a true competitive sport. If every team is basically the same, that's terrible. I'm not trying to watch it. That's crazy. The fact that you, how do I even want to say this? I don't even care about it. Listen. Baker Mayfield. You have more fun almost winning with him, not beating great teams, beating on average teams, than you had fun winning the Super Bowl with Brady, beating the great teams, having moments that you'll have forever in your life. Stop it. Like, come on, man. See, this is the type of shit that's going to start making... Shout out to midfield, man. Let's go over these scores real quick. Philly, you have a problem. But Dallas, they won on Thursday Night Football 20-15 against the New York Giants. The New Orleans Saints were against the Atlanta Falcons in Atlanta in the NFC South showdown. The New Orleans Saints lose 24-26 on a walk-off field goal by Choi, however you pronounce his name. The Rams go to Chicago and lose 18-24. Pittsburgh was in Indy. They lose 24-27 when Joe Flacco came in and saved the game. Justin Fields had his best game as a pro, possibly. I got nothing bad to say about Justin Fields after that game. Jacksonville was in Houston. They led the entire game till they felt like losing it. They lose 20-24. Trevor Lawrence just missed so many routine throws. Like, I know people gonna go at Doug Peterson. It's very hard for me to do that considering I done seen Doug Peterson be great with a Nick Foles at the helm. And Doug Peterson was never bad in Philly, really. It's very hard for me to blame Doug Peterson because I really don't know what you do at this moment. Doug Peterson started off this team as a run-heavy team. Trevor Lawrence was good because they ran the ball great. All right. Well, the year after that, Travis Etienne just has a complete slump of a year. Not only that, Trevor Lawrence gets hurt. Even when you off to a good start and everything hit rock bottom. Now you start the season 0-4. Trevor Lawrence don't look good. Your defense don't look good. Your running game don't look good. Your running game look awful, actually. And Trevor Lawrence damn near look awful. It's hard for me to blame Doug Peterson for all of this because I truly believe the problem is Trevor Lawrence. But he is the head coach. And the reason it's hard for me to blame Doug is because I see what the vision was for Doug. I want to get Trevor Lawrence to where he need to get to, but I understand he's not where he need to be. So I'm going to run the ball to get him to where he need to go. Well, your running game took a big hit last year. So that threw you all off from the rip. And now you don't really have the time to continue to allow the running game to lead the way with Trevor Lawrence because there's so many great quarterbacks in the AFC. Trevor Lawrence ain't where you need him to be at this point. It's very hard for me not to put that on Trevor Lawrence, especially when, once again, first pick in the draft, all the hype coming in, has yet to live up to the expectations. But I got to listen to niggas go at Lamar Jackson on a week-to-week basis. He was the 31st pick in the draft, or 30th pick in the draft. Trevor Lawrence was number 1. Yet to live up to those expectations. This is why I continuously say, if you take Lamar's resume and gave it to any of them white quarterbacks that the media put over him, need I say more? Anyways, Cincinnati was in Carolina. They win 34-24. Andy Dalton, the Red Rifle. People really thought he was going to win that game. Philly in Tampa Bay. Once again, they get blitzed. 16-33. Baker dogged them. Minnesota was in Green Bay. They led by a big margin all game. Then they ended up letting that lead slip away and almost lost it, but they do end up winning this game 31-29. Cannot survive when Green Bay had damn near like 6 fucking turnovers. I think Jordan Love had 4 interceptions. We had like 2 fumbles, like just a mess. And then the opportunities we had at the end of the game, we kept fucking them away because we got through an interception, then we fumbled it. Like just a lot of bad shit that happened and really just fucked the game over for us at the end. But nonetheless, we back on that horse next week. Denver goes to New York and wins 10-9. One of the most boring fucking games you will ever watch. I tried to watch it multiple times and kept saying to myself, yeah, that's not going to happen. Aaron Rodgers. You want to know what I find very interesting and intriguing? And nobody done said this yet, and I don't know why. Aaron Rodgers has turned Garrett Wilson into an average receiver because he want to throw it to buddy that he had. What is this dude's name? How did I forget this man's name? The receiver that he played with in Green Bay that's now over here with him in New York. He throw it to that motherfucker way more, it feel like, than he throw it to Garrett Wilson, the better receiver. It feel like he looking for that dude more than, I can't believe I forgot the dude's name. It feel like he looking for that dude far more than he looking for Garrett Wilson. It's no way the Jets thought when they got Aaron Rodgers, he would turn Garrett Wilson into basically an average thought. I mean, an afterthought. But I think that is very telling that Garrett Wilson's role on this offense is, it's very weird that Aaron Rodgers basically decided, I'm going to just throw it to the dude who I done been with the longest, who I got the most chemistry with. I'm not really finna try to build crazy chemistry with Garrett Wilson. I'll hit him when I can, but for the most part, I'm going to hit the dudes I'm comfortable with. That's crazy. I don't know if I'm not requesting a trade if I'm Garrett Wilson, to keep it a buck with you, but that's neither here nor there. Washington has their guy. 42-14 win over Arizona. I keep telling you. Well, I said it a lot one year, but now I'm back to it. I don't know what's going on with Kyler Murray. I already said that I didn't think he was a franchise quarterback. But now, I mean, my goodness, the up and down, you don't know what you're going to get from a week-to-week basis. He done had weapons. He done had a defense. I don't understand what you got to do to get Kyler over that hump at this point. I'm going to be honest. The Cardinals just feel like they traveling nowhere. They feel like they're going to be a 500 to below 500 team at the end of the season. Maybe they'll luck up and finish one game over 500. But they feel like they're going to be battling for last place in that division this year. And God forbid the Rams turn it around and the 49ers get back on track and get healthy. The Seahawks keep it going. It just ain't looking good for the what team were we just talking about? It's just not looking too good for Arizona right now. And I probably will have a show talking more in depth about Kyler Murray and them boys eventually. But today's not that day. But you get Marvin Harrison Jr. and that really haven't made any type of difference for this team. It's absolutely insane how bad teams go out and I really don't like the draft because I don't like that such a talent can go to a sorry ass team. Not only did they not need a Marvin Harrison more than they needed other things on that team, but it's teams that draft high, that draft back in the back end of the draft, that's basically punished because they are good. And I understand that the draft should let the worst teams draft first. I get that. But my goodness. Do you know how many great teams could have used Marvin Harrison Jr. and they knew they were never going to get him because they weren't going to be able to trade up that far and he wasn't going to fall that far in the draft? Now, could you imagine if Marvin had actually fell to a team that could have used him immediately and been great with him? Like the Ravens, like the Chiefs, like the Bills, like the Texans. Well, not the Texans actually because they ended up getting Stephon Diggs and whatnot, but more so the best teams that he would have came in and immediately, I mean, they just draft too late in the draft. And I understand you can get the bad teams to get them like the Vikings who get Justin Jefferson and he go off. But I don't care about these dudes having these crazy. I said it yesterday on Twitter. I'm so happy that Tom Brady ended up playing with Mike Evans because Mike Evans is a Hall of Fame receiver who would have ended up whose career would have ended up like Julio Jones and other great receivers who had great careers. Like Mike Evans, to me, is on the level, probably a little bit under a Julio Jones. And he would have ended up retiring without a ring. And nobody would have even talked about his career the way they're going to talk about it now. if he never won that ring. Even though to me, rings don't matter to receivers. But I do want legendary receivers. Megatron didn't win a ring. T.O. didn't win a ring. Like, some of the greatest receivers, Steve Smith Sr., some of the greatest receivers I ever had the pleasure of watching, did not win rings because they got drafted to bad teams that never had great quarterbacks. So the quarterback had one great run and lost the Super Bowl. Smitty got to a Super Bowl. Jake Delhomme lost. I'm not going to put it on Jake Delhomme, but that was Jake Delhomme's best run and was never the same after that. You look at Julio Jones, who had that one opportunity where he was phenomenal in that Super Bowl. Falcons cost him. Like, I'm so happy Mike Evans got to have this opportunity to play with Tom Brady and win a Super Bowl. Tom Brady got to be his GOAT. He should have slapped Baker for saying that. I'm going to keep it a buck with you. If I was Mike Evans, I would have went up to Baker and was like, hey, I won a Super Bowl with that man. I ain't won shit with you. I can promise you I had far more fun playing with him than I'm playing with you right now, my boy. Like, I understand you feeding me targets and whatnot, but I do a lot more for your career than you do for me. I'm certified, my boy. I'm headed to the Hall of Fame when I hang these things up. You, my boy, you know, Tampa might talk about you in a couple years, but me and you on two different playing fields, and one of the reasons I'm on that different playing field is because of that man right there, number 12, TB12. So I'm going to need you to tone it down a little bit when you talk about him, or at least point out specific names, because I ain't one of them dudes who didn't have fun playing with the GOAT. That's my 2 cents, but let's keep it moving. New England was in San Fran, and they get blasted 13-30. Haven't won since week 1. Cleveland in Las Vegas, they lose 16-20. I am not happy that Las Vegas keep beating these NFC North teams, but it is what it is. Kansas City wins 17-10 against the Chargers. Like I said, the Chargers scored 10 in the first, did not score again. Buffalo, Baltimore, 10-35. And of course, we got Tennessee, Miami, Seattle, Detroit tonight. Another beautiful sight that I saw today, though. My guy, Patty Mahomes. The first 50-plus yard touchdown he done thrown in about 2.5 years, 3 seasons. The one he threw to, I think it was Xavier Worthy, who he threw it to. Just a beaut. Just a beaut. It's always a beautiful sight watching Pat Mahomes work his way through these games. Now he is 12-0 when down 10 points. Exactly 10 points. He is 12-0 when down 10 points. This dude is unfucking believable. This dude is unfucking believable. Now I know a lot of people would immediately say, well, you know, it was his defense. What did Justin Herbert do when his defense was getting stops? What did Pat Mahomes do when his defense got the stops? There's levels to this. It's the difference in this. Pat Mahomes is special. Now, Rasheem Rice is feared that he could have torn his ACL, so he could be out for the season. Isaiah Pacheco is already down right now. Marquise Brown has not come back from his injury yet. I read yesterday that Marquise might be out for the season, so I gotta go look into that, because I did not read that he was out for the season until before yesterday. I did not know his injury could have possibly been a season-ending injury. And then I read yesterday in a report that he could possibly be out for the season. I'm like, what the hell? And then somebody on one of the announcer tables was like, you already done lost Marquise for the season. I'm like, what? So I got to go check up on that. But Rasheem Rice could possibly be lost for the season. So that is going that it's not going to hurt the Chiefs. It's definitely going to hurt the Chiefs because that's a talented receiver. That's their best receiver. But I like Xavier Worthy. I like Isaiah Pacheco if he can come back and get healthy. Obviously, I love Pat Mahomes and what he can figure out. Now, I understand the people who say eventually it's going to be so little to work with that eventually it will take a toll on Pat. But I don't know, man. This nigga generational. I'm going to just keep it a buck with you, man. This dude's generational. And I do understand the Travis Kelce is washed conversations, but I mean, he had a decent game last game. I'm not going to say he washed, but he definitely ain't the same Travis Kelce. He can't put up that high level production back-to-back games like he used to could do. But he said last year that he done took a lot of hits throughout his career. A lot of hits. I'm not shocked that I don't like that the first thing we like to do when a player ain't the same. Washed. I don't understand that. Mark Andrews, I don't think he washed. I just think he in a new space right now for Baltimore. He not the leading receiver on the team. He not the number one tight end. Hell, Mark Andrews was used to being the number one option. Now you break it down. He is no longer the number one option. He is not the number one tight end. He is not the number 1, 2, or 3 option. It's times where Justice Hill is a bigger option than Mark Andrews. Like, and one of the biggest things I think that's hurting Mark Andrews is it's so very clear. I'm not telling you that he's not athletic, but when you compare his athleticism to Likely, Justice Hill, Zay Flowers, Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, it's night and day. It's very clear that this offense is starting to become a little too fast for Mark Andrews. They're starting to outgrow Mark Andrews. And that's okay. Lamar Jackson outgrew Greg Roman. Now, it seems like he is now outgrown Mark Andrews. Now, I think Mark Andrews can still be a phenomenal tight end. He can still block. And I'm pretty sure Mark Andrews is just in his own head right now. Like I said, you're not the number one option on the team no more. You're not even the number one tight end on the team no more. So, the drop that he had last night, it did irritate me a little bit. Not just because I'm used to seeing Mark Andrews drop passes and shit like this. As great as Mark Andrews is, I'm just one of them dudes who look real close at games. And Mark Andrews fails at the things that I want him to be great at, which is being great when the game is on the line, being great in the fourth quarter, coming through in the clutch for Lamar Jackson. Things that he has religiously done bad is the things that is probably why I feel the way I feel. It's not. I'm being completely fair with Mark Andrews. It's just those things really irritate the fuck out of me, and nobody ever speak up about him because Mark Andrews done made so many bad plays in the clutch that lose us games, and nobody ever talks about it. It's absolutely insane. However, with that being said, Mark Andrews has done far more good for the Ravens than he's done bad. But I just think that this offense has outgrown the play style of a Mark Andrews because he is clearly not the athlete that Isaiah Likely is. Isaiah Likely is clearly a far better fit for this offense than Mark Andrews. So I even think when you get rid of Mark Andrews, that gives Zay even more targets, because while I don't think Zay can be a number one, I think Zay is a number 2 receiver, and Zay could be like Debo. He a better receiver than Debo because he run better routes, and I think he got better hands. But everything that you can do with Zay kind of remind me of Tyreek Hill. He not Tyreek Hill, but he kind of remind me. He kind of got that mold where he can basically do everything Tyreek Hill can do. The only thing that I don't think he do that Tyreek Hill can do, but I haven't seen him do it consistently or have to do it consistently, is go up and win jump balls like Tyreek. But that's not the offense he playing. Like, he can run the routes, he get open, he got great ability to separate. Zay Flowers is a great receiver. Like, Zay do a lot of great. Like, Zay Flowers has a great bag. The only thing that killed me is the height. I really wish they would go get Lamar Jackson, a tall receiver that can go do. He's not necessarily going to be able to do everything. You want to know something that's very interesting to me? Why the Ravens haven't tried to go make a trade with Seattle. Seattle got 3 fucking receivers. Why has no team went to try to go take one of them receivers? Not even Tyler Lockett. Tyler Lockett at one point was the best receiver on that team with DK. And nobody want him? I don't know, man. Tyler Lockett, one of my favorite receivers to watch over the last couple of years. DK Metcalf, I would love to sit down with DK and talk to him about how much he learned from playing with Tyler Lockett. I bet you he would have some of the crazy, like some of the most glowing things to say about Tyler Lockett. Yo, Tyler Lockett a dog. Tyler Lockett and Russell Wilson had a lot of dudes over there that helped him throughout his career in Seattle. That's why I was a little bit iffy on him wanting to leave, and instead of trying to get them to fire Pete, which they ended up doing the next year. I just don't know if I would have been willing to leave that type of talent, especially when I'm looking around. Yeah, Denver had good unknown talent, but I mean, I got Lockett, I got, and I understand the running game wasn't good since the departure of Marshawn, but it just felt like Seattle had more things that they could fix for Russ than Russ leaving and trying to get it elsewhere. Like, if I was Russ, I would have tried to get them to fire Pete Carroll. However, if they knew what Russ was about to become, then it's hard for me to blame them also, because Russ has never been a great pocket passer. And I think that's one of the things that's telling on how quarterbacks fall off. That's why I get irritated when people talk about Lamar. Lamar is clearly a great pocket quarterback. Josh Allen is a great pocket quarterback. Pat Mahomes, great pocket. Go look at Russell Wilson. That's the thing that scared me about Jalen Hurts also. They are not great pocket quarterbacks who could just operate exclusively from the pocket. And that's why Russell Wilson is what he is right now, in my opinion. And he probably is not getting that job from Justin Fields. It don't even make sense for the Steelers to give him that job because Justin Fields is the younger quarterback. While I don't think he's the better quarterback, he is the younger quarterback. They done figured out how to use him in their offense and how to. The offense ain't explosive at all. But I think they're going to stick with Justin Fields. The future for them with trying to have. Now, I think the Steelers are about to go through exactly what they went through with Trubisky. Because look, all these bad quarterbacks that Pittsburgh had good stints at some point in time with Pittsburgh because they play defense, don't turn the ball over, and you got a great coach. And that can fool stupid fans into thinking, oh, this is a great quarterback who just wasn't used right with other teams. Anytime you have to say a quarterback ain't used right, that should tell you that it's more, he need more coaching than he is a guy. Because saying that they don't use Mahomes right, use Josh Allen right, they don't use Lamar Jackson right. Shit makes no sense if you hear somebody say something like that. Because those guys are the offense. When you get a guy like, Baker or Goff or the quarterbacks we talking about, it's more of a, you don't use them right. You don't got them in the right offenses. Things like that. The things you don't have to worry about with generational quarterbacks or with legitimate franchise quarterbacks. But with that being said, it's been a long episode. It's been a long show. And we'll have more to talk about after the Monday Night Football game tonight. So with that being said, I appreciate you for joining me on another episode of Kicking It with Saint. Tell somebody you fuck with them. Tell somebody you love them. You could be anything in this world, so choose to be kind to somebody today. Like, subscribe, share. I fuck with you. I rock with you. I love you. Saint out.
I have fought the good fight, and I have finished the race. I have kept the faith. Well, I fought a good fight. I have finished my football race. And after 18 years, it's time. God bless all of you. And God bless football.
I got the moves like hot sauce. Lil' mama taking the top off. I'm laying down getting topped off. After this, she know she getting knocked off. I know she loving the money, so I keep on thumbing and thumbing. She say she horny when she taking shots, so I keep them coming and coming. Now I'm putting dick in her tummy. Scoop her up like I'm raking or something. You would think shawty red track, the way that she running and running. You getting dumber and dumber. You out here chasing the bone. After she finished from giving me dome, the Uber is taking her home. Tight.